Imagine that you wake up one morning in Sydney, Melbourne, or Perth, grab your phone, open Instagram, and your account is gone. Not hacked, not suspended, just erased. Now imagine this happening to 500,000 teenagers across an entire country in a single week. Photo albums wiped, group chats vanished, creator pages shut down mid-rise. This isn't a bug, and it's definitely not a prank. It's the world's first nationwide social media blackout for anyone under 16, and Australia has just hit the switch. For the first time, a government isn't begging tech companies to fix the problem, they are forcing them. Meta is shutting down accounts, TikTok is under pressure, YouTube is scrambling after being added to the ban last minute, and the fines? They are big enough to bring any platform to its knees. While officials call it protection, critics warn it could drive teens into darker corners of the internet, far beyond the reach of safety tools. Parents are confused, kids are furious, and platforms are terrified of being fined millions for getting it wrong. So the real question is Australia pioneering a new global safety model, or sleepwalking into a digital disaster? Let's break down exactly what's happening. The countdown didn't begin on December 10th, like everyone expected. It started a couple of days earlier, when Australian teens suddenly saw their social media accounts disappearing in real time. One moment they were posting stories, replying to messages, checking their feeds, and the next, everything blinked out. No warning beyond a short notification telling them to download their data before the shutdown hit. Meta moved first. Between Facebook and Instagram, roughly 500,000 accounts belonging to 13 to 15-year-olds began going dark. 150,000 on Facebook, 350,000 on Instagram. If you are under 16 in Australia right now, chances are your digital life has already been unplugged. And this isn't limited to Meta. The ban stretches across 10 major platforms: TikTok, Snapchat, X, YouTube, Reddit, Twitch, Kick, Threads, basically every place teens spend their time. What's surprising is how the government is framing this. Officials avoid the word ban entirely. They call it a delay, insisting that no child or parent will face penalties. Instead, the weight falls entirely on the platforms. If they don't take reasonable steps to keep under 16s out, they could be hit with fines of up to 49.5 million Australian dollars per breach. That's the kind of number that forces companies to act fast. But figuring out who's underage isn't as simple as asking for a birthday anymore. Platforms are now using behavior analysis, video selfies for age estimation, and, as a last resort, government-issued ID checks. For older teens who get swept up by mistake, there's an appeal process. But it's already clear the system isn't perfect. What we are watching right now is a forced reset of Australia's youth online presence, happening at massive scale and unbelievable speed. And the question that's already being asked is, why go this far and why now? Earlier this year, the Australian government commissioned a nationwide study, and what came back was a snapshot of a generation growing up online without guardrails. According to the report, 96% of Australian children aged 10 to 15 were already on social media, despite most platforms claiming the minimum age is 13. And once these kids got online, things got dark fast. 7 out of 10 said they had been exposed to harmful content, everything from violent videos to extreme misogyny to posts glamorizing eating disorders and self-harm. More than half said they had been cyberbullied. And the number that shook officials the most, 1 in 7 kids reported experiencing grooming-type behavior, either from adults or older teens. That statistic alone triggered urgent conversations inside government offices. Communications Minister Anika Wells didn't soften anything when she explained the crisis. She described kids as being hooked to a dopamine drip the moment they pick up a smartphone, and she repeated a phrase coined by a former tech insider: algorithms designed like behavioral cocaine, engineered to keep young users scrolling long past the point they should stop. In the government's view, this wasn't just unhealthy, it was a threat to brain development, to safety, and to long-term mental health. And surprisingly, the public agreed. Polls showed strong support from parents and even adults who don't have kids. Many saw the ban as overdue, a necessary break in a system that had spun out of control. With that momentum behind them, lawmakers decided to act, and act big. But just because the government was ready doesn't mean everyone else was, and that's where things started to get messy. The moment the shutdown began, the backlash kicked in from every direction. Tech companies were the first to push back, and they didn't hold anything back. YouTube, which originally wasn't even on the banned list, publicly called the law rushed. Their argument was simple: if teens can't have accounts, they will still watch videos, just without any of the safety filters, restrictions, or parental controls that only work with an account. In other words, the ban might make kids harder to protect, not easier. Meta had its own complaint. Instead of forcing every platform to build separate age verification systems, they said the government should make app stores verify age at the download stage. One check, one gatekeeper, less chaos. Right now, every platform is scrambling to invent its own system, and none of them match. Then came the kids themselves, and their reactions were raw. Some shrugged, but many were genuinely devastated. One of the loudest voices was Shar, a 15-year-old singer who had spent months building an audience on TikTok. She had about 4,000 followers, people who actually listened to her music, and overnight, all of it vanished. She told us it took her so long to gain every last person, and now she's directing fans to Lemon 8, an app owned by TikTok's parent company, but not on the banned list, at least not yet. And that's the issue critics are shouting about: migration. Push teens off major platforms, and they will flood into smaller, less regulated spaces. Lemon 8, Yope, and other fringe apps are already on the e-safety commissioner's radar. Add to that the wave of workaround culture, tutorials on bypassing age checks, tips on identity tricks, even stories of kids using the same hacks British teens tried, like covering their faces during video age tests. The government has admitted it won't look perfect, but whether this messy rollout leads to real change, that's the bigger question waiting in the next segment. Right now, Australia isn't just enforcing a new rule, it's running the world's biggest real-time experiment in digital childhood. No other country has ever tried a nationwide shutdown of social media access for under 16s at this scale with this level of pressure on the platforms. And that's exactly why governments everywhere are watching closely. Denmark, Norway, and France have already hinted that they are studying Australia's model to see if they should follow the same path. If Australia succeeds, if the data shows reduced exposure to harmful content, less cyberbullying, fewer grooming reports, and better overall well-being for teens, then this could become the new global standard, a blueprint other nations copy, refine, and enforce in their own way. But the truth is, no one knows what success is supposed to look like yet. The next few months will be the first real test. On the other hand, if things go sideways, if kids flee to unregulated apps, if online communities fracture, or if parents suddenly find themselves juggling restless teenagers during the long summer break with no scrolling allowed, then Australia could end up proving that this kind of ban creates more problems than it solves. That outcome would send a very different message to the world: proceed with caution. What makes this moment so interesting is that the results won't come from theory or predictions. They will come from what actually happens, day by day, once the ban is fully in effect. Every glitch and every shift in teen behavior becomes part of the case study. So the question isn't just what Australia is doing, it's what this experiment will reveal about how deeply social media is woven into growing up. And as the world watches, one thing is certain: whatever Australia discovers next, it won't stay within its borders for long.